if you could do, a Google business review. The link is at the bottom. Know that when we share information with our clients, we're always learning as well, and we're all about getting our name out there and the services that we have to offer. And again, as I mentioned, it's something that we share with our clients in them establishing either their nonprofit or their for-profit business. It's important to have a mission, a vision, and values, and that is something that SCORE has. And it's something that is awesome to know that our volunteers are able to support all three of those through giving back to their clients. What is SCORE? SCORE has over 250 chapters located throughout the United States. We help clients help their dreams come true, and we also help current entrepreneurs learn the process of making their dream come true that may have some stumbling blocks or some questions. How are we able to do that? And that is through a plethora of information, but who are we able to help? And that is literally everyone. So if you have a dream and you want help to make that dream come true, we're here to help you. If you're in the process of making that dream happen, but you have some obstacles or you have a couple options, you're not sure what direction to turn, we are here for you. And with that, SCORE Cleveland has been pretty busy, I must say. And in 2021, we were known for Chapter of the Year within the district. And in 2022, we were able to earn the prestigious award of Chapter of the Year amongst the 250 chapters. Our area covers as far east as Ashtabula County and as far west as Huron and Erie counties. The services that we have to offer for you are remote mentoring, and that can include either Google Meet or Zoom, like we have right now. And with that is an option that it says Request a Mentor on our homepage. You're probably very familiar with our homepage because you're here, you've registered for tonight's session, and that is something else that you're able to do is register for live webinars. In addition, we have what is known as Browse the Library, and in the library you're going to find templates that you may download for your benefit, such as cash flow statements, profit and loss, business plans, whether for a new business or an existing business, a marketing plan. And then there's also blogs or articles that you may find helpful, as well as recorded webinars. Now, if you would like a larger library, you can go to score.org, and that is the library that is supported by all of the chapters. Now then, everything that we have to offer is free, and how is that possible? It is because we are supported by the U.S. Small Business Administration, also known as SBA, and also to generous sponsors, as well as our volunteers who give of their time freely. I had mentioned to you about our website. This is what our homepage looks like. You'll see the three tabs: Find a Mentor, Request a Workshop, Browse the Library. And with that, you're able then to go from where you need to. Without further ado, I want to let you know that you are in business with Miss Lindsay. She is a phenomenal speaker, and I can't help but think that that's one of the reasons why you're here this evening, because one, you know you're going to learn a lot. Two, you're not going to fall asleep or be drowsy or any of those things, even though it's a long day. It has been, at least I know for me. It's Tuesday, and it seems like it should be Thursday, and that's not the case. So you're going to be recharged by the end of this evening, as well as know some information that you didn't know before. So without further ado, Miss Lindsay, you are in business, friend, and thank you for giving of your time this evening. We greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely, no problem. I thank you all for being here with me as well. And thank you, Nanette, for just, doing what you do and hanging out with us and supporting. I also appreciate that. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to make sure that I am. Oh, wait, before I do. Okay, there we go. I'm going to make sure that I have my screen set up so that I can share all the goodies with y'all. Okay, so for everyone who is here, you all have probably heard me say this multiple times, but I would love for you in the chat to go ahead and tell me who you are, where you're from, what type of business you have, and all that jazz. I am a chat watcher. So right now I am finding the chat. There we go. So that I can open it up and watch all of your answers. But yeah, go ahead and give me as much information as possible so that I can really help you guys to actually learn what you need to know and all that. And if you have any questions throughout, hey Zal, it's good to see you twice in one day, and Zach and Val. I want to know whatever your questions are as they come up. So that is a big thing for me, is that I want to know what you guys have questions about as we're having them, so that you kind of, mostly get the best experience you possibly can. So that's the goal. In order for that to happen though, you guys have to work with me and kind of make sure that you're doing the question asking thing in the chat. So I will also be using your businesses to give examples and to like illustrate different facts and things that I'm talking about. So if you have, something, that's the reason why I ask you about putting your business in there. If you have something like that, oh, I'm getting started. Some of you are thinking about starting a business, or you're brand new into an industry, the more of that information I have, the better, so that I can help you. So as Nanette said, I'm Lindsay. Hi, nice to meet you. I am the Ohio Grow with Google Digital Coach. I am a resource that is being provided to you all and everyone else here in the state of Ohio and anywhere else in the world that you happen to be when you're watching this. I'm being provided by Google, actually, in order to come here and talk to you about all of the different tools that you can use in order to reach more people online. So we're going to talk about a few very specific tools today. I'm going to give you a lot of resources, and in that lot of resources, there's going to be plenty of links. So let me actually that was one of the things we were doing. Let me grab one of my resources and drop it into the chat. This one is actually a link that will get you this workbook. There's a workbook / checklist that you can have that'll help you to capture all the links from the workshop tonight and give you every bit of information that you need in order to kind of help yourself go forward, so that you can maybe pay attention tonight and be kind of present with me here, because I really want you to be present with me. Hey Leah, I want you to be present and all that. So if you get this workbook, then you can kind of refer back to it later, as well as the fact that you will have the recording as well. That's one of the beautiful things about the SCORE workshops, is that these are recorded, so you can actually watch this recording later as well. So let's get started. The number one answer to this question, how do you typically find the things that you need, is absolutely 100% Google. It is what people do even when they don't realize that they're Googling things. They're Googling things. I spent the morning with my grandmother yesterday. My grandmother, who has dementia, she does not have Alzheimer's. It's a deceptive little thing. So her disease hasn't progressed much, but she does have some senility. And so she kept saying to me, Lindsay, I want you to teach me how to Google. And I'm like, it was the funniest thing, you guys. It was so funny. I want you to teach me how to Google. Now, I want to tell you why she wants me to teach her how to Google. Is so that she could call my cousin, so that he can come pick her up using his Uber. And so what she really wants is the phone number to my cousin, but she's like constantly saying, I want you to teach me how to Google. How long is it going to take for you to teach me how to Google? And it was just so fun. And so to the extent that Google is what we all do, that my grandmother, who is 90 years old and senile, knows what Google is and wants me to teach her how to do it. Okay. It is the thing that we all do if we have questions. Now, what I want us to be thinking about is how that applies specifically to you, which is part of the reason why I ask y'all to put your businesses in the chat, because we don't realize sometimes that people are looking for us, but they're not typing our names in. So 80+% of people are looking for a local business. They're looking for someone near me. They want to support local business. They want someone local, but they aren't asking for their, local and then putting in the name of your business. They may not be typing in LT squared. They might be typing in, if they're looking for you but don't know you exist, they might be typing in something around custom printing services, or how do I find beautiful local handmade wedding invitations, right? They're typing those types of terms in, but they're not typing in your business name. And so we need to be figuring out what it is that people are actually typing, so that we can be available when they type that thing. And on top of that, 61% of people who are buying things online are actually doing a lot of, I shouldn't say they're buying things online, they're shopping online. They're not necessarily buying online. And this is the thing that I think a lot of us get confused about, is that we hear that people are, oh, everyone's on the internet, everybody buys everything on Amazon. And that might actually end up being a little bit true. But the truth is, they're not first looking to shop. They're first looking to find answers. And if the answer to their question is an online shop, they might use the online shop. If the answer to their question is an in-person store, they might use the in-person store. So you pretty much have as good an odds as anybody, regardless of whether you're an online business or an in-person business, if you actually are solving for someone's actual problem with the answers to their questions, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to skip past this video, which is, I don't know why it's telling me I need access to it. Of course I have access to it. Skip right past it. So we're going to talk a little bit about how Google search works, how to do a little bit of search engine optimization to help your business grow, creating that business profile, which hopefully you all have, which I know some of you don't, and then amplifying that potentially with some online advertising, which is, and I will tell you now, completely unnecessary, but very, very useful, okay? So how does search work? The first thing search starts with is what we like to call intent. If you've heard that term, you might be maybe a little confused about what intent means. All intent means is that someone has an idea in their head, but that idea in their head might not translate from their head to their fingers in a way that's logical, but we still know what they mean. So when I used my grandmother as an example earlier, that wasn't just me telling a cute story. My grandmother has an intent, but she doesn't know how to translate that intention into an activity. So what she says is, I want you to teach me how to Google. What she means is essentially the actual thing she wants is the Uber app on her phone so that she can call my cousin, who is an Uber driver, to come and get her whenever she wants to go to the grocery store. And she specifically reiterates that she wants to use Uber because she doesn't want him to do it for free. So she doesn't want to call my cousin and just call his phone number. She has his phone number in her phone. She wants to call Uber and have Uber send her her grandson so that he can come and take her to the grocery store. So once you understand that, then you go, oh, I totally understand what she wants. She wants to download the Uber app. That's her intent. That's not what the words that are coming out of her mouth are. My grandmother and your customer are not that different, okay? So there may be something coming out of their mouth that is not exactly what they mean. And our job is to kind of translate and try to figure out how we can serve them the result, even if they have a wacky way of asking for the thing that they need. So when someone types something into the search engine, a bunch of things happen in a very, very quick period of time. One of those things is that Google tries to figure out what someone actually wants. And then based on that, it will deliver results. Now, I'm going to give you a very weird, clear example of this by using a thing called Fire Cider. Fire Cider is a specific product that you can buy. Now I'm going to show you this product. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I'm going to show you this product. And right here at the top are shopping ads. This here on the sidebar, you can ignore that. That's just a tool that I have on my computer. Right here below the products is a recipe. So if you notice when I type in Fire Cider, the first thing that comes up is recipe, wiki, benefits, uses, controversy, recipe, right? There's just 2 times where it's like, do you want to buy the product pre-made or do you want a recipe? Either way, Google wants to give me both of those answers. And so what you see on this page is first, buy the product. And the very next thing is, here's a recipe, because it's not clear what my intent is. And so Google is trying to serve up answers that are going to be useful, whether my intent is to make my own Fire Cider or my intent is to buy Fire Cider that someone else has already made and put in a jar for myself. That is why it's very important to know, because if you're going to do SEO, you're going to need to know what people want and make sure your website is saying what they actually want so that you can give them their real answer. As I said, a bunch of things happen in the background. This yoga pants example is really great because imagine if you are a man and you type in yoga pants. Well, first of all, Google knows you're a man. Like pretty much, if you're a male identifying human, Google knows you're a male identifying human by every other search you've ever made. They know that you're a man. And so if you type in yoga pants as a man, the likelihood that you will get men's yoga pants, period, no questions asked, is high. You are either going to get men's yoga pants as a purchase option, or you're going to get women's butts in the images option, right? Because Google is like, either you want to see a bunch of women in yoga pants or you want to buy some men's yoga pants. And so it's going to show you those two options. But when we are the searcher, we might have a totally different intention. Perfect example, some of you in here have e-commerce stores and things like that. You might be Googling yoga pants because you want to find competitors, like who's out there selling yoga pants right now. Well, if you're a man searching for that, Google is going to give you REI and all these other places for yoga pants near you, like physically in the locations where you can buy them, but for men only, not for women. If you want women's yoga pants, you're going to have to change your search. And you might even have to do a thing called going incognito so that you can get specific results that are not just for you, because Google kind of knows who you are and it wants to make sure that your results are very specific to you. This is what it does for everybody. It's kind of genius. So because it's doing this game for everybody, what does this look like if we're going to optimize our websites for search? The first thing we want to optimize for is the organic search results. That is the results that come up that you don't have to pay for. And if we come back over to the Firesider thing, we'll see here that these top results here are an ad. They are not these are not organic, these are ads. But then this first result for a recipe is organic. If you are selling Firesider, the product, you should know, I'm telling people who are selling Firesider right now, they should be running ads, because if they're running an ad, they're going to get seen immediately for the product. But if you are, out here just giving away free recipes, you've got a lot of competition because there are so many free recipes. All you see here right underneath the first area is recipes right there, and then more recipes and more recipes and more recipes. So there's lots of recipe options available. Those are all organic. No one had to pay for those recipes to be seen. So that's what we mean by organic. Your search engine optimization should be aiming at making it easier for people to find you in search. Now, this is to make your website more visible, help you connect with customers, and then increase the likelihood that you will have sales. But just getting more people onto your website does not make sales happen. It just increases the likelihood that you will have sales happen. So what we want to do is make sure that our website is great so that we can increase that number of people who are coming to our website for whatever it is that we are actually offering, whether we're offering a product for sale or if we're offering information for sale. And I see some of you in here are offering potentially information. So safety training, consulting is information that is for sale, right? So some of you, again, I'm trying to make sure that we're clarifying using your examples. You might be offering information over offering even a product or a service. We want to make sure that whatever that is, it's clear enough that people can actually find you. Now, the number one, still today in this era of search, the number one way to do this is using content on your website. Content is the articles, it's the web pages, it is the descriptions on your products. All of the words, literal words that are on your website is your content. And those words are your absolute best bet for search engine optimization still to this day. One of the best ways to make sure that those words are getting seen is to use really great page titles and descriptions. So let's go back over to this example here of how to make fire cider. That is the name of that page, how to make fire cider. So let me click on it. The name of the company is Eat Bird Food. I think that's hilarious. The name of the article is How to Make Fire Cider. Up here in the, no, I don't want to give you my location. Up here in the search bar, it says How to Make Fire Cider. And then up here in the little URL, the little tab at the top, it says How to Make Fire Cider. All of those things are right there and available. I didn't mean to click away. Right there and available on the title of the page. Now, I want to use one of your websites as an example. So whoever wants me to use their website, go ahead and put it in the chat. I want to look at one of your websites while we're talking about this. And that means everybody's going to see it. So make sure whatever you offer, we can use your website. So put it in the chat. I want to look at some of your titles and descriptions and your content so that we can see exactly what we mean when I say good content, good page titles, and good descriptions. Now, the next best thing that you can do is be organized. The more organized you are, I'll just put your website in there. Okay, we got Leah. She beat you to it. Leah beat you to it. So I'll go to Leah's website. You got to be a little organized when it comes to your website content. And when we say be organized, I want you to be clear. We're doing all this organization and all these titles and descriptions. We're doing all of this because Google is not a person. Google is a machine. It is literally a machine. It's a bunch of machines technically. And so since it's a bunch of machines, they don't read like people read. They're reading for information to gather, collecting data. They're not reading for content. So we have to be organized so that they know exactly what to do, right? They know exactly who you are, what to do, and all that. And if we are not organized, then that won't work. So I'm going to drop in Leia's website here, and we're going to talk a little bit about organization. So just to start out with, this website has a very long menu at the top of the website. This very long menu isn't necessarily organized. So when we talk about organization, this is the beginning. It's the very beginning of the organization for your website is your menu. And so you might want to think, how can I use as few options as possible to give people as much information as possible, period. As few menu items as you can to convey as much information as you can. That's your game with menus. As few of these little tabs as you can. So she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So how could we get this down to 5 so that it would only be a few, and also include something that's not up here? Because I know that the L, T, and squared actually stands for the fact that Leah and Leah are twins who run this business together. And so there should also be an about us at the top of this website, because the majority of people who come to the website want to read your about us page. And so that should be in your menu so that people can find it. So we have 9 items. There's 1 missing, and that 1 should be a part of the 5 if we're going to cut this down to 5. So then how do we do that? What are the categories that we can create that can turn this 9 options into 5? That's what we want to be thinking about when we think about organization. So I'm going to keep using your business as an example, okay? So when we're looking at your website, we're going to talk about content a little bit more later. We also need to be thinking about trends and what are people looking for, because I know that Leah has a Shopify site, which means that she can change a lot of the things on her website pretty darn easily. So if, let's say, she has a website that right now we have body care products and we have graphic designs and invitations for weddings, because it's a nice little invitation right now, right here. Beautiful lunches. This is a beautiful invitation. So if this invitation is, we know maybe she knows that this is the season for people who are getting married in the summer of next year. This is the season for them to be ordering their wedding invitations. Then she may want to have this image be a wedding invitation image, and she may want to have her menu be trending around wedding invitations right now. But how would she know that? She would know that by going to trends.google.com and typing in the term wedding invitations. So she's going to type that term in and then look and see that wedding invitation term peaks in popularity right about now. So we're here. So she's got about a month before the term wedding invitations is going to skyrocket. So between now and then, she can work on her website, actually, because we know that the wedding invitations term doesn't start going up until, what is this, December 19th? So if it starts going up at about December 19th and it peaks at about January 2nd, and then it kind of keeps peaking until, what does this look like, May? And then it drops off a cliff towards the end of the year. But we know that peak is still coming up. So she can actually start making her website go more towards winning invitations during this time of year. And then when it starts dropping off, she can change her menu to be more towards her body care products and other things that they're offering, just to make her website a little bit more search friendly. You see what we did there? Now, every single one of us has something like that in our business. And y'all know I did not pick Leah in advance. I don't know who's going to put their information in the chat first. I don't know any of that. So if you feel like that's an obvious example, I promise you it's not. It's not obvious at all. And so you want to be thinking, what is my product? When is it trending? And then what are the other terms that I can use when my product isn't trending? And I'll use a different business as an example. So I had a client who sold bone broth. Now I'm going to type in bone broth for you so that you can see it is, not both broth. It did it for me. It knew what I meant. Broth. The term bone broth is steady except for right here. Like it jumps like crazy towards the whole holiday season. Right around the holiday season, the term jumps crazy. And then it just goes right back down to steady state, right in the 50s in the middle. And then it starts peaking again, most volatile right now. And then it jumps up at the end of the year. Now, if this is the case, I told my client, I said, we need to put tons of new bone broth content on your website between December, the 1st of December and the 1st of January. Like basically between then and the 1st of January, we need to be putting new content out constantly. But after that, we can actually taper off because more people are not actually coming to the website after that. The trend is dying down to being a more stasis mode. But if you're going to jump on the trend, even if we're not going to change her website like we would with Leah, we would change her website a little bit to gear towards one audience over another. That lady only sold bone broth. She didn't sell anything else, but we could make our efforts more concerted during the times of year where the term was more useful. Now, what I want you to do is go on to Google Trends and actually look up terms that you think are the right terms for your business. So in the chat, yes, thanks, Leslie. I will read this question in a second. I want you to tell me in the chat what you think are the terms that are most useful for your business. Type in one at least. I want every person in here to give me at least one term that they think is a key term for their business. And what that term, okay, so we got CPR. Now I want to ask if that's Val, is that CPR training? Is it what around CPR specifically? Is it tools for CPR? What around CPR? Because the term CPR is going to be all year round. Same thing, John, Irish what? And for Irene, dance what? CPR training. Okay, you got therapy dogs, dog training. What are the modifier terms that we can make it a little bit easier for us to get some trend around it? And then you're going to go and type that. Okay, dance class, I like that. And Irene, I would get even more specific and say, what kind of dance class? Like, the more specific you can get, the better. So game show buzzer, I would even say for Zao, it's just game show buzzer, right? That might be it. And then for Carolina knows that I think the answer to this question is, what are those? Bridal shower, not just chocolate party, because no one's typing in chocolate party. I mean, maybe Black people are typing in chocolate party, but that's not what you meant. And so you're typing in something else. And so what you really mean is bridal shower idea, or baby shower idea, or interesting gift idea for interesting party activity, or what is, like you had in there, training. I love that, for team building, interesting team building activity for online. There you go. Those are your terms. So I want you to go over to Google Trends, type those terms in, and see where you fall, right? So in addition to those types of things where you're going to get an idea of what terms are trending, which things you can use on your website to actually boost your website up. So when we come back to this LT Squared has this great website, lots of ability to change it around because it's a Shopify site. Well, now we know she can actually change her website seasonally to make during the wedding ordering season. So it's not even during wedding season, because right now it's not technically wedding season. It's the time to order wedding stuff. And so she might make this the time for all the wedding stuff. And then during the summer, when it is actual wedding season and people aren't really ordering wedding stuff anymore, she could transition the site to be more towards all the scent subscription, home fragrance stuff. So she can flip back and forth. That's going to be based on those trends. But in addition to that, she wants to also make sure that her website is loading fast. Now, the beautiful thing about Shopify sites is that is a big thing for Shopify. Their websites are all very, very fast, which is great. Yay, team. But it also means that, those of us who don't have Shopify websites, if you have a Wix website, or if you have any other, Megan, you're breaking our hearts, but we totally understand we need to know what you do for a living as well. But everybody out there who has a website that's not Shopify, you need to make sure that your website is loading fast. So I will give you an example. I have a client who, I'm not going to tell you their website because it's slow. It's very slow. I actually told her web person, I was like, I need you to make this website load faster. And she was like, okay, I'm on it. And it's a WordPress site, a site that's built on WordPress. And she was like, email me back. I got it to load faster by 5 seconds. Y'all, do you know how slow a website has to be in order for you to be able to improve the load time by 5 seconds? Not 5 milliseconds, but 5 whole seconds. And it still loads slow. And so we want to make sure that our websites are not taking forever to load. Why? You might be thinking, why does this matter? Because people have the attention span of a gnat. If your website takes too long to load, they will simply go away. And it's the same thing with browsers and devices. You can try your website out on any number of browsers and devices. And if you don't have access to other people's browsers and other devices, like you are a Firefox user who only has an iPhone and you don't have anything else, you don't have access to anything else, that's fine. The biggest trick I can teach you is the right click. You're going to go to your website, right click, and you're going to scroll down to inspect. And when you hit inspect, it is going to pop open this gnarly little thing here, right? You're like, what is all of this? The reason why you're coming here, though, is because there's a little tab right there. If you see right next to the word elements, there's a little tab, and it doesn't matter what kind of website you have, this little web address you're on, this little tab shows up, and you can then switch your website to what an iPhone 12 Pro looks like. So you don't have to have an iPhone 12 Pro. See, here they are. Here's the twins. You don't have to have an iPhone 12 Pro in order to see what it looks like. Samsung Galaxy, iPad Mini. You can actually look and see what your website looks like on an iPad Mini. You can see what it looks like on my enormous browser, which is a responsive browser. You can see what it looks like on a Samsung Galaxy Fold, those brand new folding phones that they have. You don't have to have the folding phone in order for you to see what it looks like. How did I get here? I right-clicked and I went to the term that said view, inspect element, excuse me, expect element. And then I clicked on the little phone tablet icon right next to the word elements. You want to do that if you want to look and see what your website actually looks like on all these different devices. You can also go to Test My Site. This is another one of those resources that's in that little booklet that I told you about earlier, the one that my team put together. Test My Site. It is a great website for you to see what your load speeds are, whether or not your site is mobile responsive, all that jazz. You can also use Google Search Console to see which terms people are actually seeing your website for. So for my website, I found that a lot of people were coming to my website for the term lead generation. So I used to teach tons of classes about how to do lead generation, and I'm still really good at it. I don't teach it anymore, but it was one of those things that I would teach people how to make lead magnets and all these things. And so I had lots of classes about lead generation, and my website was getting found a lot for lead generation. That was something that I actually did not know until I got Google Search Console. It is completely free, and it shows you exactly the performance of your website. It shows you when there are pages on your site that are empty. So again, using Leah as an example, she and I went to her Google Search Console, and we were able to see that there was a page that had the rest of the website. It was like ltsquared.com/2, the word two. But then the rest of it was empty. And so that page just didn't load, but it was because there was more words behind that got cut off on some other website. And so it was coming up as a dead page. So we were able to go into Google Search Console and see that. That's one of those weird things that you would never know about your own website until you go into Google Search Console and it tells you, oh, you have pages that have broken URLs, or where there's links back to the page from some website that did an article on you 2 years ago, and the page that they send people to on your website doesn't exist anymore, but there are still people coming to your website for that page. So it gives you the ability to actually fix that sort of thing without you having to do a ton of work. Like, you actually can find out pretty easily. Now, a big thing for you to do, and I really hope that you all do this activity, is take those terms that we talked about. You're going to go to Google and you're going to search those terms and see if your business shows up. So because it's funny, I'm going to look for chocolate party. So I'm going to go to Google. I don't think I've ever typed this into Google at all. Chocolate party. So now I'm not going to hit anything. And her website did come up, but that's because I've been to their website many a time. So I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to click on anything. But what comes up? Chocolate party favors, chocolate party idea, chocolate party decoration, invitations, and mix. If I just click on the term chocolate party, the stuff that comes up is products, as you can see here, for a chocolate party, for a party where you are themed. Like, it's essentially saying the party is chocolate themed. That's what comes up here. What do you serve at a chocolate party? And that is what types of foods. If I open this up, it's going to say boxes of chocolates, cocoa mix, chocolate syrup, candy bars. It's all about having a chocolate themed party, but it is not about what Carolina's business is. That's not it at all. So that's not actually a term that she should use, because that's not a term that's being sought out at all. Now, if your business is something else, like we have someone in here where their business is about surviving mass shootings. Now, this is a very interesting term. And what I will encourage you to do is, when you go to search this term, don't just search it using your standard browser, not because it's going to be dangerous or anything like that, because it's not. but it is going to give you very specific results to your region. So if you live in a location where there have been many mass shootings or there's a high likelihood for mass shootings, it's going to give you results that are very specific to your location. So what I encourage you to do is go incognito. So incognito on a Chrome browser is Control-Shift-N, and you can't see this because I'm opening it up in a new tab, but it opens up an entirely new browser with a little guy with some glasses on like he's a detective, and you're gonna get that browser, and in that browser, you can type in something that's a little bit more complicated if you're trying to find those answers. And I would even encourage, I think someone in here, John, you have Irish news and events. Again, you're very local, but if you want to know what people are typing in general and not here specifically, you might want to go to an incognito browser as well and type in Irish news and events just to see what Google actually serves up for those answers. Now let's talk about creating your Google business profile and how to use it. Google has in the past denied that having a Google business profile increases your likelihood of being found in search. I think they've officially stopped saying that because it's not true. If you have a Google business profile, it increases your likelihood of getting found in search. It just does. There are plenty of people who have a Google business profile, and it is the #1 way that people find them is using their Google business profile. So you might want to make sure that your Google business profile, if you have one, is completed and all that jazz. So we're going to talk about that in, oh, that's great, John. So John is in several states, so he knows you can't look just here because people are going to, you're only going to get searches that are related to the Cleveland area if you're not incognito, because it's going to be very specific to like Cleveland Irish news, not Irish news across the country. Very smart guy. Okay. So first things first, if you're creating a Google business profile, you're going to go to business.google.com or google.com/business. Both of them work. And when you do that, you're going to complete your business info, add photos, all that jazz to make sure that your profile is complete. When you complete your profile is when the real work starts. So I am gonna use Miss Leia again. So I'm going to type in LT², but I'm going to remove the .com and see what happens. So when we remove the .com, what I was hoping to find was their Google business profile. Look at that. So when I just type in the name of their business, what I get is LT², the website. Yay. You're #1 for your own name, which you should be. Everybody should be #1 for their own name. We also get the Instagram account that is attached to LT². We get the Facebook account, and then we start getting other businesses that are not you guys, right? But the Google business profile for LT² is right here, and they have a physical location. So they're not a virtual business or an online business. They actually have a physical shop. And so you will see a little pin in the map for LT², and you'll see their products. Look at that. The products are actually on there. I love it. I didn't know this was going to happen. So we've got products. We have popular times to go to their business. We have reviews. We have lots of information, and that is it. So we don't have anything else on the profile. So this is perfect. What they can do from here, now that they have a complete profile that includes their products, which I love, congratulations on doing that. Now they need to start making posts. Your posts actually contribute to you getting seen, just like your post would contribute to you getting seen using your Instagram account or your Facebook account, except for that it's Google, meaning that it's seen by more people. Like there's more people using Google every day than by double than people using Facebook. Period. And so you definitely want to be putting that content out on Google because there's more people by a kajillion miles using Google than there are using any other platform, period. So put those posts out there. You already have reviews, which is great. And then the ability to do messages, take messages, have messages exchanged, that's very useful. But of these three things, your posts and your reviews are going to be the most important. So when you go to do your Google business profile, you will get the invitation to get a postcard sent to you. Some people make the very bad mistake of putting in their home address when they're asked what their business address is. And they do that because they work from home. Well, if you work from home and you're creating your business profile, you essentially want to tell Google that you don't have a business address. You have a service area. That is how you add in areas for your business that are not a specific address. So there's a few of you in here, and I would even say for John, who has a Irish News, he should have a Google business profile that they're in 6 states. Then your Google business profile can have the different areas that you are in. You can have multiple location available in your Google business profile. So if you're in Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, and New Jersey, and Florida, and Oklahoma, you can put those, I think that was like 7, but you can put those up on your Google business profile as your locations. And then that way, when someone is in Oklahoma searching for you, then you can do that. If you have it, you can have all of those available. Thank you. See, I'm glad you guys are doing it, because what it does is that it makes it so much easier for people to find you in whatever location you are in. Okay. What are the posts? The posts are exactly like a post that you would put on Facebook. Matter of fact, I highly encourage you to use the exact same post that you would put on Facebook. And so the same thing you would put on any social media platform. So let's go to LT Squared. So they have an Instagram and a Facebook account. Let me go to Facebook real quick. So this same post, oh, you're breaking my heart, girl. From the 15th, this isn't even pinned. From the 15th of July, you would put that exact same post on Instagram. I mean, on your Google profile. Same thing with Focus Clothing featuring LT Squared, especially for an event. So Carolina, that's good. You can just copy and paste. But the beautiful thing about your Google business profile, let's go back to this for a second. This post option is actually multiple post options. You don't just have the ability to post a post, you can post updates, you can post events. And so since Leah and Leia are putting events out there, especially because of those events, I think are at their actual location, it's at their location. They can put an event on their Google business profile, and then that'll increase the likelihood that people will see that event when they're looking for things going on near me. Because sometimes people just type that stuff into Google. They're like, what's going on near me? And, in South Euclid this weekend, because you know what Google knows? It knows the answer to that question, but it knows even better if you put it in your Google business profile as a post. So anything that you will put on as a post on Google or on Facebook or on Instagram, you can put up on Google very, very easily. Pretty much copy paste. Okay. Very easy. Okay. Now, last thing I said I was going to talk about it real quick, because it's not the thing you should do first. You should do all that other stuff first, and then you can do this, which is advertise. Those ads are important, and there are a few of them. So if we look at LT Squared again, when we type in what they do, so if I type in, instead of typing in their business name, if I type in wedding invitations, so I get templates with RSVP cards near me. I'm just going to type in near me. So I'm going to get an ad. First things first, for Shutterfly. Shutterfly is not near me. So what this is an opportunity for LT Squared to actually create an ad about being a wedding invitation provider in Cleveland, in Ohio, wherever. Because the truth is, the fact that we only see one ad right here means that no one else is competing for this space, which means that it will probably be very cheap to buy this ad space. To do wedding invitations near me, you're not going to be competing with a ton of people. And so that makes your ads very cheap. And people love being able to get that information instantly. And a lot of times, if they get an invitation, the information here, and then they scroll down and they see you on the map, and then they scroll down and they see your website underneath, that just confirms and confirms and confirms that you do wedding invitations and that they can come to you and get them done in a professional manner near them. Now, if you have again, an e-commerce type business like they do at LT Squared, you can take this and go a next step and do an ad for an image instead of just an ad for a website, like a text ad. When you're doing a smart campaign, you're going to get a few options. So there's a quick little checklist here. You have to figure out what your goals are, make sure you're connected to your business profile, write your ad, and then set your budget and go. When I said before, you're going to get options. She has options. LT Squared is a physical business. They could get people to call them using their ad. They could get people to come to their website, or they could get people to come to their physical location. They have all of these options available in a basic smart campaign that would be really easy for them to run. If they have a business profile, which we know they do, we just saw it, when they link their business profile, Google will automatically connect that information, which tells them, it tells Google when their business is open, when they, what the website is. It gives them all of that information so that if they want to make someone, like give a user, if Google wants to give a person who's Googling a great experience, they'll be able to pull all of that information directly from that business profile. Business profiles are so useful. If you don't have a business profile, you can still manually fill out a lot of this information. It's just going to be manual. You're going to have to do it physically. Now, when you're doing an ad, you want to make sure that you are sending that ad to a specific location. Let's use LT Squared again as an example. We do not want to send people to ltsquared.com. No, not if we're talking about invitations. We want to send them to the, is the invitation samples? I think there's actually an invitation section on their website. Let me see if I can scroll down to it. They got samples. Is it only samples available? You tell me in the chat. If the only thing available is samples, then I guess we'll send them to the samples. So pages, invitations, there we go. So we click on this. We've got examples for all of these different types. Now, because there's so many different examples, what we would want to do, we wouldn't even necessarily want to send them to this page, which has all of these examples. We might want to get very specific and send them just to the wedding invitations page. So we're not going to send them to the examples of everything, just to the wedding invitations. So this is where it says, where should the ad lead people? You don't want to send them to the home page. That's too much information. They're going to roam around and maybe not do what you want them to do. But if you send them to the specific wedding invitation page, that is going to increase the likelihood that they will do the thing that you want them to do. So when you create your ad and you say, I want to send people to the wedding, literally it says on here, wedding page. If you send people to that wedding page, that's great. Then they're going to give you a preview. It's going to show you exactly what anyone is going to see. It's going to let you write your headline, but sneak preview, it's actually going to use the words on your page to write your headline for you. Now, if I was doing this ad in real life for Leah, this would be a problem because there aren't really any words on this page. It's just popping up examples. This is definitely not the kind of page you want to send someone to if they're shopping for an invitation. Why? Because people, what do I always say? People are stupid. You don't want to send them to a page like this because then they will look at all of these lovely examples and then what will they do? They will go somewhere else and order them. They're going to go to Etsy and find somebody and be like, hey, here's an example. Can you do this? That's what they're going to do. And so instead, what you want to do is send them to an order page. And if you want people to make appointments, so maybe for LT Squared, invitations are by appointment only. And you can only get your invitations done if you come to their physical location. Then what they want to do is create an invitations page, something that says, make an appointment to come and sit down with us so that we can design the invitation of your dreams. And that's where they send people for their ad. So then that way they have a real call to action. They have the ability to write a great ad, and it's all right there in that one page. Okay. So no, I would actually make it on a completely different page, Irene. So Irene is asking, where would you make those words go on a page with that's a gallery? I would keep the gallery page, but I would actually create a whole separate page that has a real call to action about wedding invitations. So I would create a page that says wedding invitations. In order to get your wedding invitations done by Leah and Leah, you will need to do this, whatever this is, and then give them a way to do it. That would be it. So right now, their website doesn't say what you have to do. And I know, I understand what happened. Oh, so you're still thinking about, yes. Okay, so Irene, thank you for clarifying. On your Google business profile, you got options. If you have the ability for people to order online those invitations, then you can create a product that says wedding invitations with the ability for them to customize them or whatever. You can do that directly on the Google business profile as a product. If you are Leah and Leah right now, and you have a gallery with all of these dozens of images, you could put those out as individual posts. That's like, here's a sample invitation in blue and red for a wedding that had X theme, and we can do this invitation for this many people in this time frame. Contact us for information about pricing. So that's how you would do that as a post, right? So all sorts of fun stuff like that. Now, if you were doing an ad and you wanted to send people to that, like make an appointment page, then you would want to make sure that you're using a keyword theme that is, for Leah and Leah, wedding themed, because we're talking about wedding invitations. So you're going to have your number one phrase be wedding invitations, and then maybe some other phrases around weddings. But what's great is that when you do your Google ad, if you type in wedding invitation, Google is going to fill in a bunch of other keyword themes that they think go with wedding invitation. And when I say that they think, what I mean by that is they're going to fill in the things that people are most likely to type in when they actually are looking for wedding invitations. This is where that whole concept of Google knowing what people's intent is, this is very useful, because Google will use these themes to cover all of the intention that someone has when they're typing in crazy bad keywords. So it's very, very useful for us. Then you can put in, where do you want the ads to appear? Using Leah and Leah as an example again, if they require a physical appointment, like you have to go into their shop, it don't make no sense that they would have their ads appear anywhere other than here in Cleveland. Like maybe down to Akron, as far as Akron, that's about it. I wouldn't go any further than that, because why? No one's going to like hop a plane from Henderson, Nevada in order to come here and get their wedding invitations created. And when I say no one, I don't mean no one. I mean, it's very unlikely. And so you don't want to run an ad that's going to do that, because that would just be a waste of everybody's time and money. So instead, you're going to run your ad locally for the area that you actually have your physical location. And if you're John and you're running ads, you're going to run an ad for maybe Oklahoma, and then another one for Indiana, and another one for Illinois, because that's where those different Irish communities are. I'm obviously making that up. So in those different locations, you would run different ads for those different locations very specifically. After that, you're going to set a budget. And yes, it can be as low as $3 a day. And you can set it to be wherever you want. It does not have to be whatever the numbers are in here. You can say you want to spend $1 a day, and Google might tell you that's too low. And you can say to Google, fine, try it out. And if it's still too low after you try it, then we'll raise it. you can basically give them any budget over $1 and they will run those ads. Okay. And then you can review your campaign and then launch it. And it is that simple. It is a few steps, but more than the steps that it takes to do this, as I was trying to show you using your website, you want to start with making sure that your website is great, and that your Google business profile is filled out, and that you've looked at your trending keywords, and you've kind of gotten a feel for all of those things before you ever try to run an ad. Because once you run an ad, you should have a good page for people to land on first. You should have your, keywords right, so that you can make your keyword theme accurate. You should have enough words on your website so that when Google goes to fill in that ad for you, it has some good words to pull from. If you do all of that stuff before you ever try to run an ad, Now you're winning. It'll be really easy to run the ad. It'll be really quick, and it will actually make your ads more effective. And then after you run your ad, there's all sorts of fun things that you can do. You're going to get lots of analytics. You're going to get to monitor performance. You can turn it on and off whenever you want. And you can also add things to your campaign. So if you decide, you know what, I have a few really good examples of invitations for green and gold themes. And so you want to run an entire campaign that's just green and gold theme wedding. That's what you're going to run your ad for. You can actually come back into your ad campaign, change the ads around, or add new ads that have images and all sorts of fun stuff to the ad that you already have running with the same budget and everything. So there's all sorts of fun things that you can do once you actually get started. Okay, y'all. I just ran a verbal marathon. I feel like I gave you a lot of information, gave you 9 million examples. Before we move on, I want to know, like I do every time, what did you learn? Put it in the chat. Before I run through my resources, I got 2 more seconds for you guys in the chat. What do you know now that you didn't know before or an hour ago? In the chat, tell me what you learned. I'm going to start my little resources for you. So one more time, I'll drop in the chat the link. Oh, no, that's LT Squared's link. That's not what I was trying to grab. I was trying to grab my resource link from earlier. Let me grab it again and drop it in the chat one more time for you. There we go. So that's the little thing that you can click on to get all the links that I'm going to talk about and that I talked about already. Yes, you didn't know you could do a lot of posts. People don't usually know that one. That's a good one. Keep them coming. I want to know. Everybody should be typing. I want to know what you learned. I want to know what you learned. Now, I want you to think about what you're going to do. So keep typing what you learned. Use a keyword like an idiot. Yes. Yes, don't try to be smart. People aren't smart. That's a good one to remember. What I want you to do is take some action. So I think, that Leah got out of this, that there's a few things she's already said she's going to work on that menu thing tonight. Girl, more power to you. Please work on that menu thing. That's great. But I want you all to be thinking about what you need to be doing too, right? Think about that, because that's what's going to help you move forward. Real quick, 3 ways to appear. We talked about ads, we talked about organic results, and we talked about that business profile. Make sure to work on that business profile. Your next step is to access those resources. They are all free. I didn't talk about none today that wasn't free. Even building the ad and figuring out all that, that's free. It doesn't cost you anything to start the process. You only pay for ads once you run the campaign. Everything else, you figuring out how to make it work, all of that is free. They don't even ask for your credit card information until you get all the way to the end. So go ahead, try it out, test it out, try and figure out what works really for you, okay? There's a bunch of different resources in that link that I just gave you guys in the chat. So go ahead. Yes, this is recorded. Go ahead and use a lot of those resources. They are all, again, completely free. I dropped the link in the chat already, and I never have my survey link. Darn it. I really do never have my survey link anymore. It's not this link. For some reason, the link they put on the screen is not work. It's a completely separate link. But I do want to thank you all again for hanging out with us tonight. And thank you, Nanette. Thank you. You've been awesome as well.
Thank you. Everyone, thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate it. As I said, yes, you will be getting a copy of the recording, and I'll make sure you have the link that she was talking about. And keep your eyes peeled to our calendar for other webinars that Ms. Lindsay will be presenting for us. So with that, have a great evening, stay healthy, and enjoy this gorgeous weather that we've been having. Take care, everyone.